The next thing we'll do now is to add some rocks to this area. To do so, we can start with a simple primitive shape. Let's click Shift A, and we can go for either a cube or even an isosphere. Let's start with that, and we can click on GZ to bring it to our view. And the reason why I started with this is because it already has this rough edges that we can, start working with. You can start with a cube, that's also fine. And in this case, I'll just tap into the edit mode and move some of these faces around to let it take that shape of a rock that is kind of rough and all. So I will start with, let's say we select one of these vertices here. Let's say we select one of the vertex here and we click on G. We can move it around. We can do so for other aspects of this shape here. So let's say we just move some of these faces around. Remember, we can also work with proportional editing in the sense that you click on O and you'll be able to have that random effect. So let's click on one of the vertex, G, and rough it out a little bit. I want it to be as rough and awkward as possible. So I'll just spread some of these areas here. So G, let me move this out. And if you have a vertex arranged in a way that it seems too close to the other areas, you can actually slide it across any of these edges. I will first exit from the proportional editing by clicking O, and I'll click G for the first time. I'll click G again so that it will be constrained to the edges, so I can easily work with that. So I have it out of that corner there, so I can just move it around, clicking on G. Good. So I think I'm getting this rough kind of effect that I need. I'll click on O again. So I'm just moving things around as much as possible. You can tab in and out of edit mode to see the effect you're getting, and if you like it, you can just stop there. So let's see. Yeah, so I think I want it to be a bit sharp there. Good. So once you have this basic shape, you can now create this fine edge to each of these sharp vertices by clicking on one of the vertex there and using the bevel tool. Remember, we've used the bevel tool for the chair, and you can actually use it for one of the vertex. So you can go over to clicking on this icon here, and you can just click on this yellow area, but you can't see anything happen right now, and that's because you would need to switch to the vertex select for the bevel tool. To do that, you just need to tap on V, and now you can have this effect for the vertex. So I will be using the shortcut key so that we can be faster. So the shortcut key for bevel is Ctrl B, and we can click on Ctrl B and V again so that we can add some bevels to the vertex that we've selected. So we can move around and some of these sharp edges here. Control B, V, adding that effect. Control B, V, and that effect. And you can select one of these vertex here and click on G the first time. Remember to toggle out of proportional editing, so click on G and G again so that you can slide it across the edge. So I'll work faster now because we kind of get what I'm doing. So before we go ahead, I should mention something that we can take note of, in the sense that if you look at shapes like this where you have more than 4 vertex to a surface, it means that this is a great chance to triangulate that surface. So we can actually go to our face select by tapping on 3. You select the surface and you can either go to face and triangulate faces, or you can click on Ctrl T and you'll be able to get that fine subdivision for that face. So you can see the face has been recalculated and there are now some subdivided faces over there. So I think I'm satisfied with this for now. So we can now position it on the surface. I'll tab out of edit mode and we can get to work. So the next thing I want to do is to move the rock around and position it on the surface. The first thing I can do is to click on G and move it. But this is like a traditional method where I have to manually find where I want to place it and all. So a smart way to move objects around to target areas is to use the snap icon. It looks like a horse hook. So I can toggle it on by tapping on it, and there is this drop down that is similar to what we saw for the proportional editing. I can tap on this drop down and I can see different ways to snap the object that has been selected to different faces, or it also depends on whether it's a vertex I want to snap it to, an edge and all that. In this case I want to snap it to the face of this surface here. So I will click on face project and I will also go to project individual elements because I want it to be set to project the objects on individual polygon elements for this surface. And I will also click on align rotation to target, and this will help me to rotate the object with respect to each normal for these faces. Now to demonstrate what I just explained, now that I have this set up, I can click on G and you can see once I take this object and take it closer to the surface, it's not only snapping the rock to the surface, but it's also calculating the normals for each of these planes, and it's also helping me to rotate it to be more naturally aligned. So I can do this and we're good to go. So once I have that set up, I can now scale it up a bit if I want it to be scaled up. And because we're going to be switching from the snap option and back to the normal transformational option, that's because sometimes we might not need to snap the objects, we might just need to do some quick adjustments. So to quickly go between the normal mode and the snap mode, you can click on Shift Tab and you can see that it has gone out of this snap mode. So now if I move my object, it's no longer having that behavior of snapping to the surface. So I did this because I want to get this rock a little bit deeper into the surface. So I can click on G, Z and move it inside here. Now I might want to have, you know, some other aspects of the rock peeking out, so I might want to click on R to rotate, but this time I want it to rotate freely, so I'll click on R again so I can easily rotate it. So we use S to scale, and this is good. So now that we know the quick steps for toggling on the snap tool and, you know, some of the other shortcuts we used, I will speed up my process so that you can follow along. So I will create an instance of this rock, because of course the more polygons you have, the heavier your project. So I will just create an instance, clicking on Alt D to duplicate. I will add one here, RR to rotate. Let's rotate it this way. I think I like the way it looks. G, and I can scale it down a bit. So let's say we want to add another rock to somewhere here. I can click on Alt D, move it a bit, Shift Tab to snap it, and I have it looking nice here. RR to rotate it. Let's say I want this other area. Then S to scale. RR again. Let's say good. Yeah, I like this one. So I'll keep on doing the same thing over and over again till I get the effect I need. And if you do not snap out of or go out of the snap mode and you click on GZ, you see that it's not giving you the effect you want. It's not going into the surface, but instead it's trying to align it. So that's why. So we click on Shift Tab and good. Good. So we now have the rock you know, spread across the entire area. Let me add one more here. Snap, G, Alt D, RR. Let's see, this should be good. Yes, and I like what I'm seeing. So this is good, and we can go ahead to add in other features like the tree and all.